I have a question. Should you say, where do you from? Or where are you from? Do you say, what do you do? Or what are you do? In this beginner or A1, A2 level class, we're going to work on asking questions in the present simple. Specifically, when do we use do or does? And when do we use is or are in questions in the present simple? Hi, my name's Charlie. Welcome to Organic English. I'm here to help you become more fluent in English. I'll put a link to a transcript in the description below. You can download that for free to help you follow along with this lesson. Today we're going to look at how to form questions in the present simple. Asking questions, giving answers, these are really important to everyday conversations in English and of course in any language. First, we're going to look at some examples and we'll break down those examples to see if we can figure out any patterns or any rules. Then we'll look at the form or the structure of questions. So what do I mean when I say do, does, are, is to form questions? Let's look at some examples to illustrate the point, okay? In fact, I'm going to start this session with a quiz. Now, I'm going to give you a bunch of examples. I've left a blank where the verb be or the verb do should go. Please see if you can fill in that blank with the correct verb, be or do. Now you can pause the video after each sentence to test your knowledge, okay? What do you instinctively want to put in the gap, be or do? Here we go. Where, blank, you from? What, blank, you do? Blank, you want to leave? How old, blank, your daughter? Blank, she a doctor? Blank, you tired? What, blank, you watching? Blank, the taxi here? Blank, she like coffee? Okay, let's go through the answers now. Where are you from? What do you do? Do you want to leave? How old is your daughter? Is she a doctor? Are you tired? What are you watching? Is the taxi here? Does she like coffee? Now let's go through those answers and let's isolate the ones that use the verb do first and see if we can figure out some kind of pattern, some kind of rule. Now, if I isolate these, what do you see? I see more than one verb if we count the verb do. In these examples, do is not the main verb. Do is acting as an auxiliary verb, a helper verb. If we look at the questions using the verb be, I see that there is only one verb, the verb be. The verb be is the main verb, apart from in one situation. Here, watching. That is the verb watch plus ing. Now let's keep that piece of information in the back of our minds for now. So from these examples, I can see that we use do when there's a verb in our question, some kind of an action, such as what do you do? What do you do? Or some kind of condition or state, like in does she like coffee? I also see that the verb, the main verb, is in its base or infinitive form. That's to say it has no ending. There's no s, there's no es, there's no ing. Okay, so verb do when there's an action involved, when there is a verb in the question. So now let's look at when to use the verb be, when we use are or is. As we saw earlier, we use the verb be when there's a verb in the continuous, that is verb plus ing. For example, what are you watching? Watch plus ing. The main verb in this case is are. What are you watching? Notice also we're using a question word here at the beginning of the sentence. What? So it's an open question. That means we cannot answer it with a simple yes or no. We need a more complete answer. What are you watching? I'm watching a great movie. Here's another example. Is she drinking enough water? Is she drinking enough water? In this case, the main verb is. Here there's no question word, so it's a closed question. That means it's a question that we can answer simply with yes or no. Is she drinking enough water? Yes. We can still give a slightly fuller response. We can say, yes, she is. Or even, yes, she is drinking enough water. So we also use be when we talk about age, or when we ask about age. The example we saw, how old is your daughter? How old is your daughter? We could also ask, is she 10 years old already? We also use the verb be when we have an adjective in the question. The example we saw earlier, are you tired? Are you tired? Tired is the adjective. We could also ask, when are they busy? When are they busy? Busy is an adjective. We also use is when we're asking questions with a noun in it, with a thing in it. The example we saw, is she a doctor? Doctor is a noun. Another example, what star sign are you? What star sign are you? Star sign is a noun. We also use the verb be when we're asking a question with a preposition in it. The example we saw, where are you from? Where are you from? From is a preposition. We could also ask, is he behind me? Behind is a preposition. We also use the verb be when there's an adverb in the question. The example we saw, is the taxi here? Is the taxi here? Here is the adverb. We could also ask, how do we get there? How do we get there? In this case, there is the adverb. So, to recap, we use do, does, to form a question in the present simple for almost every verb. The rest of the time we use be, that is, are or is. We don't use do or does when the main verb is are or is, when we are forming questions in the present simple. So now let's move on to structure. How do we form questions using the verb do? That is, do, does. Okay, so the structure is the auxiliary plus the subject plus the verb. The subject and the main verb do not swap around. Let's look at some examples. Do you like rice? Do, the auxiliary, you, subject, like, main verb. Does she live in Singapore? Does, auxiliary, she, subject, live, main verb. Do you want to come to dinner? Want is the main verb in this case. The verb be is a little bit different. When the main verb is be, we make a question by putting the verb at the front and putting the subject after the verb. So here the subject and the main verb do swap around. For example, are you hungry? The main verb are, the verb to be, subject you. Is she at school? Again, main verb, the verb to be, in this case it's is, she is a subject. If we want to make a question with one of the question words that I mentioned earlier, one of the WH question words, it's the same. We just put the WH word or phrase first at the beginning of the sentence. For example, why do you like chocolate? Where does she live in Madrid? Why are you hungry? How long is she at home? Don't forget, I'll put a link to a transcript in the description below. Take a look at that, and that will help you follow along with this lesson. You can also go to www.OrganicEnglish.club, where you'll find plenty of other resources to help you become more fluent in English. Thank you very much for watching. Now go out and practice asking questions.